Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer is a film that tells the complex story of J. Robert Oppenheimer and the development of the atomic bomb, a weapon whose destructive power altered the course of history. While the movie does a good job of showing Oppenheimer's psychological and emotional struggles, as well as the broader historical context in which the atomic bomb was created, it arguably normalizes the actions of those responsible for one of the deadliest inventions in human history. By humanizing the scientists and showing their personal lives and struggles, Oppenheimer raises the question of whether it is possible to separate the morality of a creation from the people who created it. At the core of Oppenheimer is the portrayal of its protagonist, a brilliant physicist who finds himself at the center of one of the most significant scientific endeavors in history. The film presents Oppenheimer not as a villain, but as a deeply conflicted individual torn between the imperative to end World War II and the looming moral consequences of his work. Nolan shows Oppenheimer as a family man, a teacher, and a human being with complex emotions, giving the audience access to his internal conflicts. This approach is not limited to Oppenheimer alone. Many of the other key figures in the Manhattan Project, such as General Leslie Groves and the other scientists, are shown as individuals with lives, relationships, and ethical dilemmas, humanizing them to a significant extent. However, in normalizing these figures, Oppenheimer presents a dangerous paradox. By emphasizing their humanity, the film risks downplaying the monumental and irreversible consequences of their actions. The atomic bomb, once deployed, brought death and suffering on an unimaginable scale. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki resulted in the immediate deaths of over 100,000 civilians, with countless others suffering long-term effects from radiation exposure. This is not a mere byproduct of war. It is a conscious act of mass destruction carried out by individuals who knew, or should have known, the devastating potential of their work. While the movie highlights the moral dilemmas faced by the scientists, it also risks presenting these actions as justifiable or understandable through the lens of their personal lives and motivations. By portraying the scientists as good people who made difficult decisions in the face of global conflict, Oppenheimer risks presenting a form of moral relativism that makes their decisions seem more excusable. The film encourages the audience to empathize with Oppenheimer's plight, his intellectual curiosity, his sense of duty to his country, and his internal conflict. But empathy for Oppenheimer, Groves, and their colleagues can create a dangerous blurring of moral boundaries. The fact that they were human, with families, careers, and lives full of contradictions, does not absolve them of the catastrophic impact of their invention. The film's focus on the emotional weight of Oppenheimer's personal life, including his strained relationships and the toll the project took on his mental health, contrasts starkly with the brutal realities of what the atomic bomb represented. In the context of a world at war, the scientists' motivations might seem understandable. They believed they were working to end the conflict and prevent even worse atrocities. Yet in seeking to depict these individuals as ordinary people, Oppenheimer runs the risk of diminishing the enormity of the evil they unleashed. This dynamic raises a larger ethical question about how society remembers and grapples with the moral consequences of technological and scientific advancements. Historically, the individuals involved in creating the atomic bomb were hailed as heroes by many for contributing to the Allied victory. But Oppenheimer doesn't shy away from illustrating the deep unease and guilt that followed the bomb's use, especially for Oppenheimer himself, who famously quoted the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." This quote reflects his acknowledgement of the horrific power he helped bring into the world. Still, by humanizing the scientists, the film risks allowing viewers to focus on their personal struggles rather than confronting the full scope of the bomb's impact on humanity. The normalization of evil in Oppenheimer also mirrors a broader societal tendency to reduce complex moral issues to personal stories, shifting the focus from collective responsibility to individual emotions. Throughout history, atrocities have often been framed in ways that make perpetrators appear as victims of circumstance or products of their time. In the case of the atomic bomb, it is easy to frame the scientists as heroic figures who, despite the devastating consequences of their work, were simply caught in the machinations of war. By emphasizing their humanity, the film might inadvertently reinforce this narrative, encouraging us to focus on the individuals rather than the broader systemic nature of the violence they participated in. Oppenheimer offers a nuanced exploration of the moral conflicts faced by the individuals who created the atomic bomb. While this humanization of the scientists brings depth and complexity to the narrative, it also runs the risk of normalizing the evil inherent in their actions. By presenting them as relatable people with personal struggles, the film may inadvertently downplay the catastrophic consequences of their work, suggesting that their actions can be excused or understood in the context of their lives. In the end, the movie forces us to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that even those who create the most destructive weapons of mass violence are, in a sense, still human, but that does not make their actions any less morally reprehensible.